Welcome to the Pink Lady Posse podcast, women who refuse to disappear. You are either creating your life or living one you inherited. Friction management. It matters because breakthrough is your way out of drift. See the drag? Return to say. Let's go. I am Sandy Parker Martinez, and I am here with Kay Briggs, who I've known a long time and actually admire because I wish I was an artist like she is.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. So, Kay, we were laughing about being ladies of leisure. And I'm 70 and she's 65. And if we've ever earned it, the time is now to do nothing.
Oh.
And guess what we're doing? Not nothing.
Yeah, not nothing. I don't really think that I am really cut out to be what people call lady of leisure. I don't do nothing well. So I really have to have a purpose, and I got to be stepping into that every day. There are days where I don't step into it very well as a lot of other people. And I am not ashamed to admit that. There are days like that I just don't feel it. And some days I can get into it and just make myself go and just keep taking a step. But there are days where I just said, you know what? I can't. So I could not do that every day. I like to create. I like to have a purpose. I like for that purpose not only to be for me, but for other people. And so that's kind of a lot of how this whole thing with Pink Poppy and the artisan situation, that collaboration we have, all started just because I really think that, you're on this earth to not just do for you and your family, but to really make a difference for other people. And so the giftings and the talents and the stuff that we have, we ought to be able to take those and develop them and skill them, not only for us and for our purpose, but to also engage others. And
Okay. You flew by the name Pink Poppy.
Okay.
And this is the Pink Lady Posse. So if ever two people should meet, even accidentally, it should be us. So tell me about the Pink Poppy, what it is, where it is, and how it got started, because it's in your soul to have that.
Yeah, kind of is. I've always been artistic. I was a coach and an athletics director and an art teacher. And I know a lot of people would always say, oh, that's such a weird combination. But it truly is. I raised 3 boys. And so, yeah, 3 boys, no girls. And I will tell you that I did want a girl, at least one. And but at least one, but it's funny. I kind of realized that wasn't going to happen. And I was really fine with what I got. I love my boys, and then when I was coaching, every day I would say, oh my God, really did know what he was doing when he gave me boys, because these girls are, and then I could be all kinds of things. But anyway, I really loved being a coach. I love that. It taught me so much. And well, it taught me how not to quit, So I think that, I started, Pink Poppy kind of came from just a different part of my life. I was a teacher and a coach and did all that stuff. I moved here. I thought, oh, I'm going to be a lady of leisure. And I remodeled my house and I did all these things. And then I got through with all of that. And I just still had this thing that I always used to say, don't you ever feel that thing inside you that says, you're really supposed to matter, not just to your family, but you're supposed to matter to somebody else. And what good is it you doing nothing or nothing for someone else? It just doesn't get you there, And so I'd always really wanted a retail store, but really in Houston, I actually had experiences in Houston where I was the artisan inside of another space. And I never connected those dots until later in life when I realized that I started there and I ended here. And now there are other people starting there that will hopefully end up in the same place. So when I came here, I know I'm jumping around, but when I came here, I just utilized the stuff that I love. So I painted, I did aprons. I utilized a girlfriend who was, she was a seamstress like nobody's business. She could make wedding dresses, but we made aprons, and they were stinking cute aprons, and we sold them like candies. And so every week, I mean, we were all busy. I was busy painting. She was busy making aprons. I'd go to the market days and sell them. Then I met a guy that actually owned a space, and it was a big space on the square. And him and I got to talking, and then we just went on into, you know, we did an artisans kind of a co-op thing. So that's where I started the artisan thing. And that's where I have two artists that are in my store right now, years later. This was like in 2009 when I started on the square. It's 2026. And I have two artists in my space that have been around me or in one of my spaces the entire time. And so anyway,
let me ask you a question. Now, Georgetown is booming, right?
There's a lot of people here in Georgetown. It is not like what it used to be.
I know.
You know, I think that I'm glad that I started it when I did, because I'm not sure that given the climate that we have now and as many people as we do, that I would have started a retail business. I would not have. I'm almost positive I wouldn't have. But again, back then, there was less people. I didn't know as much as I know now, which is really to your benefit when you're starting stuff. But, you know, because you don't really know what to be afraid of. You don't really know what to plan for. You don't really know. All you go is, I got a dream. I got a drive. I got the desire. I got the energy. Let's make this happen. And that's what you do.
So tell me about the store. I want to visualize, like when I walk in, tell me about the store.
So the store right now, we are over in the River area. We were downtown for about 10 years. And we moved over to the River back in January, the end of January of 2020, about 6 weeks before that pandemic hit. So, and I will tell you, it was a frightening time, you know.
It was
for everybody, regardless of where you were at the time. But you know, when they told us about the pandemic, and they told us we were going to have to close and all the stuff that came down, I remember coming home and going like, I just cannot be so. I mean, how is it that I felt like when I moved off the square, I had a lot of people that said, you're crazy, you shouldn't do it, da 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 da. And the reality of it is that I knew that the one thing that mattered to me, or a lot of things mattered, but one thing that was really important to me was the connection with our community and the connection to the women in the community. And how is it that you can have a connection if you don't have time to talk to people? And what happened downtown was that it got harder for the locals to come in, and they just wouldn't come because there wasn't any parking or whatever reason they would give you, or there was a festival, they wouldn't come downtown because they didn't like all those people, you know. And so I just had determined that I need to get out of there so I can go find a place where I can do business. However I need to do it, I just want to do business. And I wanted to be able to connect with locals. And so really Pink Poppy was about a local boutique where people could come and buy pretty clothes in their own town. And so back in 2013, there wasn't any, hardly, but maybe one or two. There wasn't anything. I mean, there's a lot more now, but there wasn't at the time. So I did really well. I had a great community, great customers. And so I moved back in 2020, right before that pandemic hit. And, you know, my thing is that I always said, you know, God knew this was coming, so he has to have a provision. I knew he wouldn't have moved me. I had the piece to move. I just buckled it up and I moved. And I was happy that I did. And then everything was booming and going great. And then the pandemic came. So, you know, in saying that, Pink Poppy really is about thriving, connection to women and their community and why it is they come into the shop. It's just a beautiful place to be. I just kept showing up. I showed up how I knew how to show up. I did what I knew I could do. I just kept trucking. And then, a few years later, we moved into this really nice space that we have now. We've been there about a year and a half, which is actually in the same complex, just literally across the parking lot. And it's a beautiful place. It has a lot of pink in it. It's got the most beautiful pink walls, but I do have some red in the shop too, kind of like the red behind us over here. So I mix reds and pinks together all the time. I love that kind of a combination, and I use the red to accent things that normally people try to hide to make it look like a piece of art. So, we have this funny pole that is in the middle of our space. And I was like, how are we going to get rid of that pole? I don't want that pole just sitting there. I mean, that's ugly. And they said, oh, just paint it pink. And I'm like, no, 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 no. And so what I ended up doing was I talked to one of the guys, and the culvers, those metal drainage pipes that they put in the ground. And so I said, what if we take one of those and put one of those on top of that, because it'll look like a silo, and then we'll paint it red. It's a beautiful, happy place.
Now, are there different artisans or different spaces, yep, or how does that work?
I don't do spaces because I don't like the way that looks. So I've always had different artisans inside the space, and we put them so that it just looks like we have a beautiful, like a fixture that's not really supposed to be a fixture. We turn it into a fixture. Like one of the things I used was my mother-in-law had this beautiful china hutch that they were going to get rid of, and I took it and I painted it. So we have all different kinds of painted pieces in the shop, and they're used for fixtures. So we have art that's in one, we have candles on another that's from a local lady. The art's from a local lady here in Georgetown. We have kids' clothes.
So let me ask you this. I heard you say 5 important things, but one was you kept showing up.
Yeah.
If you were going to teach, if you were going to teach another woman how to keep showing up, what would you say to a woman listening about who may be feeling like you were at one time? I'm done. What would you say to a woman about showing up?
Well, you got to know why it is you're doing what you're doing. There are times in your life that it is way easier to quit and just to say, I'm done, and walk away. And people would totally be supportive of you walking away because it's hard. But, in all of that I've done is that if I walked away and I just decided not to show up, how is that going to help me? How is that going to help anybody? What about the person that's going to show up at the shop today that's really needing somebody to hug their neck, not just buy a shirt? So I think what happens in life is that people always think that if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, that you're not going to have any trouble. That is not true. It's never been true. I think that when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing and you're showing up, that's when you are dangerous. That's when you're dangerous. I always say that's when you're dangerous to the devil, and he knows it. So I learned that if I start something, that I don't quit, because there really are other people counting on you. So like now when you have to show up, there are other people that are counting on you, so you don't get to quit. If you're on a team and you're supposed to go to a game and you just don't show up, or you quit the team, you just left a big hole. because if you weren't supposed to be there, you wouldn't be on the team. And so, but I did really learn tenacity. I will tell you that when I got sick and I had breast cancer, and I'm sitting here thinking, like, I'm 30 years old and I have breast cancer. How is that possible? Because I didn't drink, I didn't do drugs, I didn't smoke, none of those things. I ran, I worked out, I did all the things you're supposed to do. And then I had breast cancer. And I told her, you know what? You don't have to be first. You just need to finish. You need to not quit and finish. Those are important.
So, what about the store now in terms of collaboration?
Quick question. Have you noticed how easy it is to drift through this season of life? Not unhappy, just slightly checked out. Yeah, that. At Think Pink, we don't fix women. We help them come alive again. Honest conversation. Easy occasions for discovery. No duct taping a smile over burnout. No reinvent your entire life by Tuesday. Just people who care and gentle nudges that help you feel like yourself again. I mean, the truth is, you can't be your best self by yourself. If that sentence made something in you nod, we made a free Think Pink starter gift just for you. Come take a look. No fixing, just connection. Go to pinkladyposse.com and click on Think Pink. Stay awake to your own life and not alone.
So, what about the store now in terms of collaboration? What have you learned about collaborating with others? Because that's a big skill. And even at our age, the way we work with others really does affect the quality of our life.
I really think that, like, with the women that are in the store now, they're all kind of where I was. And they're all doing what it is they believe they need to be doing. They also need women that are able and capable of encouraging them, of giving them a step up, of putting them someplace where they can be seen. And that's kind of what Pink Poppy does. It's respect. So when, I've talked to people that I didn't feel like it was, we can say it's not a good fit. I think everybody should fit. But what happens is people don't know how to collaborate with another person. And so they don't know how to respect the fact that you're dealing with somebody who's been doing this for a long, long time, and there might be something that you can learn. So those people that are just not willing to learn, they're not willing to accept your advice. It is my space and it is my shop. And so I've done a lot to get it where it is. I want people that understand that, respect that, and all the time while I let them do them, let them do what they do best. So, like, as a coach, not everybody is at the same skill level as everybody else, but everybody does have something that they're really good at. So it's up to us, like as a coach or me as a business owner, to take that particular skill and see it and skill it and train it and help them be more effective at doing what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And in the meantime, you can make some money. And all of us kind of really, it's like, I always have this thing is that when people played sports, when the people would say, oh, it's not about winning. Yeah, it is. And I don't have a problem saying it is about winning, because if it wasn't about winning, you wouldn't be playing. You want to win. Nobody wants to be the loser. I mean, I don't see them as losers, but anyway, that's where we are. Well, in this, being an artist or an artisan, it goes full circle. So when you create something, though you are so excited about that, you selling that, or you giving it to somebody that you feel like you need to give that to, that's full circle. That's what completes it. So you can start another thing. I tend to flock to women that are of like mind and who can, I appreciate them. They appreciate me. We put it together. Voila.
Voila. Well, voila. I'm about to write a book. I'm writing a book. It's in the process. It's called Peace is More Expensive Than Lobster, which is the story in the book. But then underneath that, it says a wake up call with lipstick. And it's it's to encourage women. It's like a rally cry to, if you're still here, game on, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
so in the book, one of the things that we talk about is we have a say in how our life goes. So the
yeah.
word say is like agency. Like no one could ever take our ownership of ourselves away from us. But when my mother said, because I said so, I knew what she meant. And when I look at you, Kay, I go, there is a woman that knows she has a say in how her life goes. Have you always
Well, we all
felt have you always felt that way?
probably, which is which is I might not have recognized it at the time. You know, the older you get, the more you see things for really how they are. But my mama used to say, she used to call me Miss Bossy.
Uh-huh.
And so one time when she used to always say that, and I would I know I always used to think like, what does she mean by that? You know, because I was young, you know. And later in life, my mom said, yes, Miss Boss. And I said, huh. And I'm like, okay, I'm on. We had a conversation about it, but used to that would offend me. And I had to really dig deep as to why does that word boss offend me? And it had there was a lot of baggage there. And it was a lot of negative things, and it was all about perception. So me being a boss now, I don't think of it negatively. I think of it as a crown because I worked my bum off and I keep working my bum off, you know, and I just keep trucking. I will tell you, I have, as a boss, there are things that people do not realize the difficulty it is being in that spot, the responsibility that you have for other people in this world being in that spot. I have not always done it well. But I've also always been willing to say when I screwed up, I'm really sorry. And I named it and I owned it and I asked God to forgive me when I needed to, and I moved on. And, but as a result of that is the reason why I like where I am now, where I am comfortable and confident in what it is I'm doing, why it is I'm doing it, and why it's important, not just to me, but to other people.
Sometimes it doesn't matter our words. It's like
Yeah.
who we are shows up before we say anything. And your sense of stature and confidence and bravery and I mean, you're an example whether you say anything or not.
That's kind. Thank you.
But it's
I will.
it's important that we know
Yeah.
that we matter, and when we
Yeah.
matter to ourselves, we can be more present to other people.
I know that eating right makes a difference. Feeling right means feed your mind, feed your spirit, listen to good things, talk good things, hang out with good people, go to the gym, make sure you're moving, make sure you're sleeping. All those silly things that we always think you should do, you need to do those all the time. They need to be who you are every single day. And then you show up when you really show up. And then when things get terrible, and then they do every now and then, when the wheels fall off and you got to figure out how you're going to put it back on, that's how you show up. You don't worry about how am I going to fix something? You just think, okay, this is a challenge. Is there anything I can do about it? Yes, do it. No, keep walking. Just keep walking.
Well, I love being with you. I cannot wait for my book to come out. And I'll come to the Pink Poppy and do a book signing, and we'll have a
Yeah.
party. Well, we'll have a party. Kay, thank you for being with
Yes.
me. I want to ask you
Oh,
one last question, and that
okay.
is if you had to sum up one thought you would like to give whoever's listening, besides don't show up, which we've covered, what's which is so important. If they get that, it's a miracle. What's one last message you would like to say? Hey, sister, this is it.
Know what you love or what lights you up. So if you're an artist, know that. If you need to skill it, skill it. If you need to train it, you train it. And then just embrace the things that light you up. And then figure out how to take those things that light you up and turn it into a message, turn it into a business, turn it into your mission. Because there are other people in this world that are just like you. There are other people in this world that want to do what you're doing or that want to be where you want to be. If you don't do you and you don't develop it, I think we're just all responsible for training the gifts that God's given us, skilling them, and putting them in to a nice package that you can use or you can share or you can just be. If I had all the things that I love and I just sat on them here at my house all the time, I could be a lady of leisure. Surely I could. But how would that help anybody? And why is it that I have these things if I don't share them with other people? And so, me developing Pink Poppy and the connection with the artisans and the art that hangs in the store, all of those things are things that are naturally what I love and what I support. And so I put it into Pink Poppy, which is a retail store, and all the things that I did, I'm helping all the others do the same in a space where I can actually make some money and have a life and have a mission and have a job and have a purpose. So it's kind of all those things right there in the middle.
You said it. You do you, girl.
Well, I appreciate it. A lot of times us boss girls don't really get the opportunity to really share your heart with people. They see it, they just don't know what they see. They see that you are present and that you like certain things, but they don't really know you. So I appreciate the opportunity to share my heart with somebody.
Thanks for tuning in to Pink Lady Posse Podcast, where women go from what now to what's next. Come join us at pinkladyposse.com, where we share community, resources, and tools to support your next beautiful chapter. With love, light, and a little lipstick. See you next time.